Hello, my name is Paul Henry, Security and Forensic Analyst at Lumension. Welcome to our Patch Tuesday update for December 2012. This month there are 7 bulletins, 5 of which are critical, 2 are important. Fortunately, none are currently under attack, so that should set IT's mind at ease as they begin to apply these patches. The most important bulletin this Patch Tuesday is MS-12077. It impacts IE9 and IE10. It's a critical severity rating. These are use after free issues. They affect only components that were introduced in IE9, which is interesting because it means it affects IE9 and IE10, and the down-level platforms don't really have those components, hence they're unimpacted. However, Microsoft has done some defense and depth hardening for these platforms to address the issues, but because they don't have the affected components, they were not given the higher severity ranking. The next priority is MS-12079. It's a Microsoft Word critical vulnerability that addresses a remote code execution issue. Similar to a bulletin issued a few months ago, there's an issue with the RTF formatted data that can be parsed in the preview pane executing the vulnerability. Because of that parsing issue, this is a very important patch to apply quickly. Next is yet another kernel mode driver issue that is ranked critical. This again affects true type font parsing, which is done at the kernel level. There was a similar bulletin just last month. However, because executing of this vulnerability would be time consuming and difficult, this is less important than the Word in IE issues. Next is MS-12080. This fixes an Exchange issue involving remote code execution. A few months ago, Microsoft addressed Oracle outside-in vulnerabilities for the first time, and this is a similar update addressing the current Oracle update to outside-in. There's never been an active attack on this, but it's an important component, so it's good to see Microsoft doing their due diligence here. We also have a remote code execution issue in the Windows file handling component for XP through Windows 7. Fortunately, Windows 8 is not impacted here. When Windows Explorer parses a file name, it can hit this vulnerability. MS-12082 impacts a vulnerability in Direct Play. It affects all versions of Windows from XP through Windows 8. As we said last month, Windows 8 is unfortunately not perfect, and we can expect updates for the OS to become more common in 2013. If you use Direct Play to parse content in Office documents or other things embedded in Office documents, these vulnerabilities may come into play. So the Office document will act as a vector, but it is considered a Windows-level vulnerability. Finally, there's MS-12083. It's a fix for a vulnerability in IP HTTPS, which is a component in Direct Access. Direct Access, of course, is your VPN authentication solution, and it checks credentials when you log in to ensure they have not been revoked or expired. Essentially, this is a bug that doesn't honor the revocation timestamp, and you might see it for corporate credentials after an employee has left a company. This vulnerability would allow someone with a revoked certificate effectively to log in, and again, it's very important if you use this direct access component. There's also a refresh of a previous update, which is becoming pretty common nowadays. Effectively, it's a re-release to handle some of the code signing issues, so again, they're updating the code signing certificates. Other notable issues outside of Microsoft this Patch Tuesday: Oracle was already feeling the heat with a new cross-vendor zero-day vulnerability in Java and is now facing additional pressure with multiple vulnerabilities reported in their widely used MySQL product. Several vulnerabilities were reported in early December by researcher King Cope on the exploit database. The new Microsoft SQL exploits included denial of service attack, a Windows remote root attack, 2 buffer overrun attacks on Linux, and 1 privilege escalation attack also on Linux. We also have issues in the widely used DNS software Bind 9.9.2. There are now patches available to handle 26 different bugs and security issues. You can download the patches on the Bind website. We also provide a URL on the Lumension blog. Also this Patch Tuesday period, the SANS ISC has reported exploit code has been made public for multiple implementations of SSH from Tectia SSH and Free SSH Free FTP. There are no CVEs available for tracking these issues, and there have been no public announcements from either vendor. It's also nice this month to note that Adobe has matched their updates to Patch Tuesday for Microsoft. This should make patching a little easier for IT admins this month, and it will help consolidate reboots and other issues. This has been our Patch Tuesday update for December 2012. Thank you for listening.